Hi, Sharam Namdarian here, and welcome to this very interesting audio coaching session. Now, this is sort of meant to be like a little bit of an introduction to what coaching is, as well as some guided healing. And honestly, if this is the only thing you ever do with me, my goal here is to give you as much value and as much healing and as much open-heartedness as I possibly can. And, if you choose to work with me more, that's on you. But here right now, we're going to be talking about what coaching is, who I am, my journey with coaching, and what you can possibly get out of it. And then we're going to go into the guided healing session. So my journey as a coach, my journey as a life coach, as a relationship coach, as an emotional healer, honestly started with my own relationships. I was single and ready to mingle and trying to meet people. Eventually, through my understanding of the world and understanding of the nuance of relationships, I ended up coaching men exclusively and then women exclusively. But what I ended up finding out through my relationship coaching when I was working with people was that while a lot of people like to search online, what to say and what to do because they feel a sense of self-doubt, really what's going on is that when someone is worried about what to say or what to do, they're actually afraid of something else. There is, dare I say, they are blocked in some way. Now, we're going to talk about what a blockage is soon if you don't already know what that is. So I discovered through my coaching that if I helped someone deal with, say, for example, their blockages towards relationships and confidence and dating and things like that, they started to open up. And since they were no longer, say, for example, afraid of rejection, they actually were able to express to their partner or their loved one, hey, I like you, I'd like you to do this for me. So it's these blockages I discovered that really affected us in the world. They affected us who and what we're meant to be. While we're trying to move forward, simultaneously, we're trying to avoid moving backwards because there's something there, and that actually drains our energy. Now, from here, I discovered this, and it changed everything. When I was actually looking deep down inside and trying to figure out what is the God particle of healing and relationships and what's going on, well, there's a very simple phrase: the best way to heal is to feel. And that's where we bring in one of my favorite words, and that is surrender, or in this case, emotional surrender. So when I'm working through coaching, I'm actually asking you deep down, what are you feeling? What is the blockage towards your career, your life, your health, your confidence, your relationships, your self-expression? And we're going to feel that. We're going to surrender that, and I will explain what the whole process is, although I have a whole online course about that. I'm going to give you a little crash course into that. But my journey with this, at the time, I was actually suffering, I didn't quite realize or notice at the time how deep that went, of depression. And through my coaching, through letting myself fully surrender to that emotion, all the feelings that I felt as I was being depressed, as I was essentially from time to time bedridden, well, I came out of it. So what happens when you actually surrender to something is that there is a cycle. Now, emotions have a cycle. They have a start and a finish. For example, let's imagine, you have to stand on stage and give some form of speech. Well, what are some emotions you might have when you stand on stage and have to give a speech? Well, most people would say stage fright. Well, what does stage fright feel like? It feels scary. It feels tense. There's anxiety. All these you could consider are blockages towards performing on a stage. We lump them all together as stage fright or the fear of public speaking, but truth be told, there are all these little sub-emotions that come up, and since we avoid these emotions, I'm not saying you do, but as a human race, that's generally what I find that happens. Since we're avoiding these emotions, we end up avoiding the public speaking. And it's our relationship with these emotions that is actually our relationship with public speaking. Now, for example, with this public speaking metaphor, if you were to then surrender to those emotions, surrender to the fear, either before or after, or even the best places during public speaking, what ends up happening is the emotion runs its cycle. There is a start and there is a conclusion to every emotion, good, bad, whatever. And when the emotion concludes, what ends up happening is we move on to the next one. Now, when I mean the next one, it's always, there's a rule that I've discovered when it comes to emotional healing, and that is bad becomes good, good becomes great, great becomes amazing, which means a fear of public speaking may become excitement of public speaking. Generally, what happens when a cycle is concluded, we get what we have, what I like to call an expanded awareness. That is, since we are no longer in the emotion, we are no longer struggling with the emotion or feeling it or having some extra relationship with it. For example, I often say it's not the fear, but the fear about the fear. You know, we're not even feeling the fear when I'm coaching people. It's that we're actually afraid of even feeling it. So we have all these behaviors that even stop us from feeling the fear, when fear itself is just a cycle that needs to run its course. So as you surrender this, you end up gaining an expanded awareness since you are no longer in it. Now, I want to talk about expanded awareness for a second, just because it's really fucking exciting, especially when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to social skills, for example. If you're no longer in it, you can see it and you have an expanded awareness of it. So one of the best examples I have of this was, well, my own life. One day I was lying in bed and I was surrendering. I was meditating in the same way that I would invite you on a call and that I will invite you on this audio to surrender to. I was surrendering to the feelings that are coming up inside. And one day during that inner meditation, I discovered, so I was surrendering to the feelings, and I discovered through, once the cycle completed itself, sometimes you get what you call a concluding thought, a thought where it's like, oh, I get it now. That's just how I handle that emotion. I discovered deep down inside that there was a part of me that was attention starved, that no matter how much attention I got, it was never enough. Now think of that for a second. I'm a fucking life coach. I do a lot of social media, internet and stuff like that. No wonder at the past, I suddenly, from this new expanded awareness, I could see, wait a second, holy crap, I've been trying really hard because no matter how much attention I got, it was never enough. There was a deep feeling of never enough and a deep feeling of attention starved. Now you better believe, since I was no longer in it, as I'm walking around, because I'm no longer in it, you can see it, you can open yourself up. I was starting to see around me all the people who really wanted attention because I was no longer desperate for it myself. But even better, I was able to see my little kitties. I got a couple of cats, me and my girlfriend, we got some cats. I was able to see them and be like, hey, these guys, they're desperate for attention. Like bright shining lights. So as you heal your relationship towards the thing itself gets easier. And I'm talking everything. You know, we're not just talking relationships. You'll hear me talk a lot about relationships. That's where my background is. But we're talking health. We're talking the way you look at yourself, your self-love, your career. All of this stuff can be healed when we start to surrender our emotions around it. We start to look at them. We start to open ourselves up. This is the very reason why when I'm working with people, say for example, in relationships, suddenly they heal some stress in relationships and their career starts to take off more because it's like, oh my God, I'm okay with stress and suddenly I'm capable of asking for more things and suddenly I'm capable of earning more money. Similarly, there'll be a time where I'm working on someone with their, again, relationships or, again, stress, and they're capable suddenly afterwards of losing weight because, oh my God, I can handle more things in life because I'm no longer bogged down in the smaller details. Well, I guess I'll try counting calories or doing something about it. Expanded awareness. When we're no longer in it, we are free to see the world more. It is so interesting to see someone open up and surrender something in one part of life and then go, for example, and catch up with a friend and see that person in a whole new light. So imagine now for a second there is a stress that you've got in your body or in your life or a big concern